The apartment felt different now. Jack sat on the edge of the couch, eyes locked on the strange girl who had come out of the pod. Ara, that's what she called herself. She now sat cross-legged on the floor, arms wrapped around her knees, staring at the walls like they were alive. Neither of them had spoken for a while. Outside, flying cars moved silently through the sky, neon lights blinking against the windows. But inside, everything was still. Jack wasn't sure what to do. He had never been good with people, and this wasn't just a person. She was something else. Something not from here, not from Earth. He cleared his throat. Are you ... hungry? Ara tilted her head. She looked confused by the question. He stood up and walked into the kitchen. He grabbed a snack bar and held it out to her. She took it slowly, turning the wrapper in her hand, trying to understand what it was. Then she looked up. Is this safe? Jack blinked. It's chocolate. She nodded once and took a small bite. Her eyes lit up. That's good. Jack chuckled softly. Yeah, it's chocolate. Everyone loves chocolate. Ara looked at the bar again. Then, back at him, is this what humans eat? Some of us, Jack said. It's mostly when we're too lazy to cook. She smiled faintly, the first real expression on her face since she woke up. But it faded quickly. I don't remember food, she said, or people, or anything before the lights. Jack sat down across from her again, trying to stay calm. He didn't want to scare her. Do you remember where you're from? Ra shook her head. He hesitated. He spoke English. Perfectly. How? She touched her temple. The pod taught me. Maybe there was light voices. I think it was programming. Like a data upload, Jack asked. Yes, but painful. It wasn't made for me. Jack leaned back. This was beyond anything he expected. This wasn't just some lost alien girl. She was part machine, or had been trained like one. But she didn't feel robotic. She felt too ... real. Then he remembered the blinking red chip. He moved closer. Ara, can I look at the back of your neck? She stiffened. Her fingers touched the base of her neck. The pain came from there, she whispered. Jack moved slowly, gently pushing her hair aside. There it was, a tiny black chip, almost hidden under the skin, pulsing with a faint red light. He pulled out his tablet, ran a quick scan. Unknown device detected. Possible neural tag. Warning, bioweapon signature. His hands froze. Bioweapon. Ara was watching him now, sensing his reaction. What does it say? She asked. Jack didn't know if he should lie. But she deserved the truth, it says. You might have something dangerous inside you? Ara's face went blank. She looked down at her hands. Then I really am a weapon. No, Jack said quickly. You're not. You're not some tool or device. You're someone. She looked at him, eyes full of fear. Then why was I inside that pod? Jack didn't have an answer. But one thing was clear. Whoever built that pod didn't see her as a person. He opened the pod again, searching for clues. Hidden in a corner was a small label, nearly invisible. Project A17. Subject, Hybrid Cognitive Companion. Property of Core Lab 9. Status, Incomplete ARA. Read it too. Hybrid ... She whispered. Am not fully alien. Maybe part human, Jack said. Maybe that's why you can talk like us. Think like us. Looked at her hands again. Then why do I feel ... broken? Jack didn't know what to say. The red light on her neck blinked faster. Suddenly, Ara clutched her head. It hurts, she cried. Jack jumped up. Ara, what's happening? I don't know, something's in my mind ... moving. Her whole body began to shake. Lights flickered in the apartment. The temperature dropped. Jack grabbed her shoulders. Stay with me. Breathe. Just breathe. The chip was activating. Without thinking, Jack pulled up the emergency settings on his tablet. He had a tool for disabling local devices. It was meant for rogue cleaning bots. But maybe ... he aimed it at her neck. One press. A pulse of energy surged into the chip. Ara screamed. Then everything went dark. The lights cut out. The air was silent. Moment later, she collapsed into his arms, unconscious, but breathing. Jack sat there, holding her, shaking. What had he done? More importantly, who else knew she was awake? He stared down at the now-dead red light on the chip. Whatever. It was only the beginning, and somewhere out there, someone was missing their weapon. The world outside kept moving. The city lights blinked, the drones flew by, and the buildings hummed with life. But inside Jack's apartment, time had stopped. Ara was still lying in his arms. Her breathing was shallow, her face pale. Silver hair was scattered across his lap, and the chip on her neck was completely dark now. He had shut it down. But at what cost? He gently lifted her and placed her on the couch, wrapping a thin blanket around her. She didn't wake up. Knelt beside her, watching for any signs of pain. Nothing, just silence and that eerie, soft glow from her skin. He checked the tablet again. The scan was still running. Whatever this chip was, it wasn't just for tracking. It was complex, too advanced for anything legal. It was connected to her brain, maybe even her memory. Jack leaned back against the wall, his heart pounding. He had ordered a pet, a simple, smart companion. That's it. Now there was an alien girl sleeping on his couch, and she might have a weapon buried inside her head. And the worst part, wasn't even sure if she was safe to be around. He stared at the label again from the pod, Subject A-17. Hybrid Companion. Property of Core Lab 9. Incomplete. What was Core Lab 9? And why the word incomplete? His mind raced. Someone had made her, grown her, programmed her, then packed her into a pod and sold her like a product. But something had gone wrong. Maybe she escaped. Maybe someone helped her. Or maybe she was never supposed to wake up. The tablet buzzed, scan complete. One line appeared. Neural suppression chip, disabled. Memory firewall offline. Firewall? He looked at Ara. If the chip was blocking her memories, and now it was off, then maybe. Something inside her had just unlocked. A soft sound broke the silence. She stirred. Jack moved closer. Ara, her eyes fluttered open. The glow in them was brighter now, deeper, like stars floating in violet skies. She looked at him, but not. Like before, this time it was sharper. Focused. Jack, she said softly. He blinked. You remember my name? I remember more. She sat up slowly. Her movements were smooth now, less unsure. She looked around the room like she was seeing it for the first time. There were others, she whispered, like me. But smaller, not finished. Others in the lab, cold tanks, machines, lights. I wasn't alone. Jack's chest tightened. You were in a lab? I think I escaped. Or someone helped me. Then I blacked out. Next thing. Someone hijacked the delivery system? Yep. Jack felt the air grow heavy. Wait. You're saying someone placed you in that pod ... on purpose? Era nodded. To hide me. Or send me to someone they trusted. Jack stared at her. You think? That someone is me? I don't know. But I'm here now. They sat in silence. Then Jack's tablet buzzed again. A notification. Not from any app he installed. A single message popped up on the screen. Unit A-17 is offline. Initiate retrieval. Protocol. Before Jack could react, the tablet shut off. Completely, his heart sank. Someone knew she was awake. He stood up and pulled the blinds shut. Locked the doors. Turned off every device in the room. Ara watched him calmly. There. Coming, aren't they? I think so. I won't go back, she said. Jack looked at her. For the first time, there was something in her voice. Not fear. Not confusion. Anger. He moved to the closet and pulled out a backpack. He stuffed some basic supplies inside, along with a screwdriver, a portable charger, an old energy blaster he had never actually used. A gift from his brother, a soldier who didn't make it back from Mars. Jack paused, then handed the blaster to Ara. She took it like she'd done it before. He stared at her. You've used one of these? Remember how it works? She said, "I don't know why." "You sure you're just a companion model?" Era looked at him. "I'm not sure of anything anymore." They packed fast. Jack didn't know where they were going, only that they couldn't stay. Not here. Not with some unknown group trying to retrieve her like stolen cargo, just as he reached for the door. A light flashed outside the window. A black drone hovered silently, its lens glowing red. Jack cursed under his breath. They're here. But when he looked back at Ara, she was already moving. Her steps were quick, purposeful, like she was used to being hunted. He followed her down the fire escape, heart pounding in his ears. And as they vanished into the shadows of the city, Jack realized something. This wasn't about a smart pet anymore. This was war. Rain began to fall as they moved through the narrow streets, the sky above flickering with low-flying patrol drones. The neon signs that once lit the city with color now looked like warning signals. Jack's hoodie was soaked, and the cold had started to bite through his boots, but he didn't stop. Era walked beside him, silent, her glowing eyes scanning every corner, every rooftop, every shadow. They didn't speak much. Both knew they were being followed. Jack led them through an old transit tunnel abandoned years ago when the trains went vertical. It was dark, damp, and smelled like rust, but no cameras. No drones, no tech that made it safe. For now, they sat near a pile of old crates. Jack finally let out a breath. "I didn't sign up for this," he muttered, wiping water from his face. "I was supposed to be working a desk job, 9 to 5. Pay bills. Eat noodles. Maybe die of boredom?" Era looked at him. Her eyes still glowed softly even in the dark. "You don't have to help me." Jack gave her a tired laugh. "Bit late for that, don't you think?" She said nothing. He stared at her, trying to read what she was feeling, but it was hard. She looked young, fragile, but underneath, something powerful was waking up. Something that wasn't supposed to be there. "You said there were others," Jack finally asked. "Others like you. What happened to them?" Ara hesitated. Her fingers tightened slightly around the old blaster he'd given her. "They were sleeping in tanks, smaller bodies, half-finished. I could hear their minds, like static, like dreams trapped in a box." Jack felt a chill crawl down his spine. "You could hear them?" She nodded. "I think I'm connected to them, or ... I was, before the chip. And now it's quiet. Too quiet." She looked up, which means they're either gone, or someone shut them down. Jack leaned back against the crate. He didn't know what was worse, the idea of more Era-like beings out there, or the idea that someone had erased them all. "What were they building you for?" he asked. Era didn't answer right away. When she did, her voice was lower. "Companion. That's what the pod said, but that's a lie. They were training us." "Training you for what?" Her eyes met his. "To obey." Jack didn't speak. "He didn't need to," she continued, voice steady. "We were designed to look like people, sound like them, bond with them, but inside, they were installing control layers, emotion filters, trigger commands. One word, and you'd do anything. Anything. Lie. Forget. Reset. Be someone else." Jack swallowed hard. "But it didn't work on you?" "Not completely. I was. It's unstable," they said. "Couldn't finish. Programming me, I had too much awareness. Too much ... will." A long pause followed. "They called me a failure." Jack shook his head slowly. "No, that's why they tried to get rid of you. Someone must have smuggled you out. You weren't a failure, you were free." It suddenly, her eyes narrowed. "We're not alone." Jack turned fast. Footsteps echoing down the tunnel. A faint metallic click. Then a shape emerged from the shadows. A tall figure in dark armor, face hidden behind a glass mask. In his hand, a stun rifle humming softly. Ara stood up. "Stay behind me." "Target located," the figure said. "Subject A-17. Return for processing." Jack raised his hands. "She's not going anywhere with you. It's unauthorized civilian detected. You will be erased." Era's voice cut through the darkness. You don't remember me, do you? The figure tilted its head. I remember you, she said. You. Used to monitor the lab floor. You called me it. The soldier didn't reply. I'm not it anymore. She stepped forward slowly. The air around her changed, got heavier. Then it started. Her hands lit up, not with fire, not with lasers, something different. Like static, mixed with memory. A deep humming sound filled the space as the glow from her body expanded. Jack stepped back. The energy felt alive, like it could think. The soldier raised his rifle too late. Era raised her palm. The weapon tore itself apart mid-air. Screws and metal flying in every direction like birds escaping a cage. The soldier tried to run. He didn't get far. Era moved in a flash. One step, two. Then she was right in front of him. She placed her hand on his chest. Just one touch. The armor short-circuited. He dropped lifeless. Jack stared. Stunned, Era stood over the body, breathing. Hard. Not out of exhaustion, but emotion. It's like something old and buried had surfaced. She turned to Jack. I didn't know I could do that. He looked at the soldier. That wasn't normal. That was.
Like telekinesis.
It was memory. What do you mean? She stepped closer to him. These powers, they're not just energy. They're information. Left inside me, buried under commands. The more I remember, the stronger I get. Jack was speechless. I'm not just a failed project, she said. I'm a copy of someone else. His eyes widened. Someone else. They made me from her DNA. Her mind. I don't know who she was. Only that she died before the tests were complete. So I'm the second version, she said. And maybe the last. Suddenly her knees buckled. Jack caught her before she hit the ground. She was shaking again, this time not from fear, but from something deeper, something breaking inside her. I'm scared, Jack, she whispered. Every time I remember more, I lose something. I don't know what's mine anymore. He held her tight. You're not a thing, Era. You're not a weapon. You're not a copy. You're you. Whatever's coming, we'll face it together. She didn't reply, but she didn't let go either. Outside, the city kept glowing, and far away, in a hidden place no map could reach. Someone watched them through a screen. A voice spoke in the dark. Subject A-17 has awakened. Initiate Phase 2. The sun never truly rose in this part of the city. Thick clouds of pollution kept the sky a permanent gray. The buildings leaned over the narrow streets like silent giants, their broken windows watching everything. Jack and Era moved quietly, their footsteps lost in the hum of power lines and the distant buzz of Xeno drones. They had been running for 2 days. No messages, no safe zones, no help. Only silence and eyes in the shadows. Every few hours, Era would freeze, stare, off into the distance like she was hearing something Jack couldn't. Then she'd whisper one word. Hunters. The first time she said it, Jack didn't take it seriously. He thought she meant people like the armored guard. Back in the tunnel, soldiers, tech thugs. But she didn't mean soldiers. She meant something worse now. Even when they were alone, Jack could feel it. The air felt sharp. The building seemed to listen. Nara was changing. Her powers, whatever they were, had grown stronger. Once, while they were hiding beneath a collapsed sky bridge, Jack watched her fix a broken drone. Just by touching it. She didn't plug anything in. She didn't use tools, just knew how it worked. Another time, a rat ran too close to her. Collapsed instantly, its nervous system overloaded. She hadn't even looked at it. Jack said nothing, but he was starting to wonder, was she evolving or unraveling? She felt it too. That night, under a flickering neon sign, Ara looked up at him and asked, "Will you still care about me if I stop being like this?" Like what? Like a person? Jack didn't answer right away. His chest hurt. "You're more human than most people I've met," he said. She didn't smile. That's when they saw the first poster. It was plastered on the wall of a food stall, barely holding onto the rusted surface. A blurry photo of Ara. The text underneath was printed in 3 languages. Wanted. Subject A17. Highly dangerous. Reward: 500,000 credits. Alive only. Report sightings to the collector. Jack ripped it down.
Oh.
But it was too late. The old woman running the stall was already backing away, her hands shaking as she reached for her cum unit. Jack cursed under his breath and pulled Era by the arm. They ran through alleys, over pipes, past old service elevators. The city had turned against them, and the collector had made his move. No one knew who the collector really was. Some said he was a rogue AI. Others claimed he was a man who had lost his family to war and replaced them with cloned perfect beings. All Jack knew for sure was that he was powerful, filthy rich, and he had a taste for rare life forms. That meant Ara wasn't just some failed lab experiment. She was a prize. They ducked into an abandoned train car, breathless and shaking. Ara's eyes were wide. They're everywhere now. The network is awake. Jack peeked through a shattered window. We need help, somewhere to hide. I can find someone, she said. There's a name in my head. Someone I wasn't supposed to remember who. Wrench. Jack blinked. Wrench. That crazy gearhead who fixes outlaw tech. I think he used to work at Core Lab. He helped someone escape. Maybe me. Jack rubbed his face. He lives in the scrapyard outside the wall. That's a 2-day walk. I can get us there faster. She said, if we take the underground route. He raised an eyebrow. That route's dead. Everyone says the tunnel's collapsed. Ara closed her eyes for a moment. Not all of them. Jack didn't argue. That night, under cover of thick fog, they found a hatch beneath a burned-out building. The symbol on the metal door matched one of the ones Ara had carved into the dirt a day before. Without even realizing it, the hatch creaked open, and they descended. It was quiet down there. Too quiet. The walls were scorched. Lights flickered weakly along the floor. There were signs of old fights, bones, scraps of armor, blood long dried. This place was a testing route, Ara whispered. For subjects like me, you remember? That, no, she said. But my body does. As they moved deeper into the tunnels. Something changed in her. She began walking faster, stronger, more alert. It was like the air itself was feeding her energy. Jack struggled to keep up. They reached a door, thick, rusted shut. Ara placed her hand on it. Her skin glowed. The door shook, groaned, then opened with a deafening screech. Inside was a large room. Once used for storage, now filled with old machines and glowing wires. And in the corner, sitting beside a half-built mech suit, was a man with one mechanical eye and a cigar in his mouth. You brought her here? He said without looking up. Stupid or brave? Maybe both. Your wrench? Jack asked. The man stood slowly, his metal limbs creaking. She was never supposed to wake up. I didn't have a choice. Wrench looked at Ara. And you remember anything? Enough, she said. Wrench walked over and placed a hand on her head, gentle, like a father checking a fever. She's changing fast, he said. More than I expected. What is she? Jack asked. Wrench turned toward him. She's not a girl, not just a hybrid. She's a weapon built with emotion, memory, identity. They were trying to make the perfect infiltrator. One that could feel. One that could bond. And then he snapped his fingers. Turn how? Jack asked. Kill her target. Never even know she did it. Jack's blood ran cold. I disabled the chip, he said. She's free. Wrench shook his head. The chip was just the leash. The core is still inside her, if the collector activates the signal. ... He looked at Ara. She won't be Ara anymore. Ara didn't flinch. I'll fight it, she said. Wrench nodded. I believe you. But you'll need help. He walked over to the back wall and pulled a tarp off something large. It was an old escape pod, heavily modified, armored. Wrench looked at Jack. You're going to get off this grid? Head to the outer rim? There's a rebel AI colony out. There, they hate the collector. And what about you? Jack asked. Wrench grinned. I've got a few surprises left. The sound of engines echoed through the tunnels. Above, too late, the hunters had found them. Wrench tossed Jack a rifle and handed Era a black disc. "If you lose control," he said, "crush this. It'll shut down your neural core for 30 seconds. No more. After that... ... Nothing can stop it." She looked at the disc, then at Jack. "I don't want to lose who I am." "You won't," he said. She took his hand. Just for a second, then the door exploded. The walls shook with the explosion. Smoke flooded the tunnel like a rolling wave, thick and choking. Jack hit the ground hard as the blast blew open the steel door. Pieces of metal rained down. Sparks flew. Wrench was already on his feet, dragging. Jack behind a steel crate. Ara stood in the center of the room, untouched by the blast, eyes glowing like wildfire. Out of the smoke came the hunters, not soldiers, not drones. These were something else. They moved like shadows but carried weight, human-shaped, but wrong, too tall, too fast, too silent. Their armor was black glass, smooth and shifting. Their faces were blank, featureless, but their movements were precise, calculated. One of them pointed at Era. "Subject A-17, reactivation. Protocol Alpha, stand down." Her jaw clenched. She didn't move. Another hunter raised its hand. A sharp tone filled the room like a high-frequency whistle, but deeper. It pulsed through Jack's bones, rattled his teeth. Ara gasped and dropped to one knee. Her hand went to her head. The glow in her skin flickered like a failing light. No, Jack moved toward her, but Wrench grabbed his arm. "Don't. This is the collector's signal. The core is waking up." Ara's eyes went wide. Her breath came fast, erratic. She gripped the disc Wrench gave her, her fingers trembling. Then her voice changed. Not completely. Just enough to freeze Jack's blood. Target... identified. "No," he whispered. "Fight it, Ara. Stay with me." But her hands moved on their own now. Her fingers tightened into a fist, and suddenly one of the hunters flew backwards, slammed into the wall with bone-crushing force. Another tried to shoot. The gun jammed before the trigger clicked. Era stood up slowly, her face blank. Her powers were awake, but she wasn't. Jack ran toward her. "Use the disc, Era. Listen to me." Just slightly, her eyes met his, and for one terrifying moment, he saw nothing in them. No fear, no pain, just programming. She raised her hand. The crate Jack was standing behind cracked and lifted into the air. Metal groaned. Jack hit the floor as it flew across the room and crashed into the far wall. "Override," Wrench yelled. He tapped furiously on a small device in his wrist, but nothing worked. "She's locked in," he shouted. "Collector's running her remotely." "Then shut the signal down." "I can't. We'd need to kill the source." Ara stepped forward. The floor under her feet cracked with each step. The power buzzed around her body like electricity caught in storm wind. Raised her palm toward Jack. Jack didn't flinch. He just looked at her. "I know you're in there," he said. His voice cracked, raw. "You saved me." You smiled at Chocolate. "You told me you were scared. That was real. That was you." Something flickered in her. Her hand shook. Then Era screamed. She dropped to her knees, grabbing her head. The disc in her hand trembled. Sparks flew from her fingertips. Jack crawled toward her, ignoring the burning pain in his leg. "Crush it." He shouted, "Crush the disc, Era. You can take control back." She screamed louder, and then crack. The disc shattered in her palm. Everything went dark. The lights, the noise, the vibration in the air, gone. She collapsed forward, completely still. The hunters stopped moving. Wrench stood up, panting. She hard reset her core. That bought us 30 seconds. Jack pulled Era into his arms. Her skin was ice cold. Will she wake up? If she doesn't, you better run. There wasn't time to argue. The pod was still intact. Wrench dragged it toward the launch platform while Jack lifted Era inside. She didn't move. You'll need to get her far from the grid, Wrench said, sealing the hatch. The collector's control ends where the satellites don't reach. Where do I go? Outer rim? Anywhere off beacon. Once she reboots, she might be free. Might? Wrench looked at him. No promises. Ah! But if anyone can fight what's inside her, it's her. Jack hesitated. Come with us. The old mechanic gave a small smile.
Can't. Someone's
gotta close the gate. He turned and ran back toward the control panel. Tell her I said thank you, Wrench shouted, and then he slammed the launch switch. Fire exploded from the pod's engines. Jack's seat snapped back. Era's body shifted beside him, eyes closed, still locked in that strange half-sleep. The pod burst through the broken ceiling and shot into the sky as the city shrank below. Jack could see the tunnels erupt in Fire Wrench's last stand. Then, they were out, rising through the gray clouds, into the black sky above, away from the grid, away from the reach of the collector. Jack looked at Ara. She hadn't moved, but in the silence, he reached out and took her hand. I'm still here, he whispered, and I'm not giving up on you. Her fingers twitched, just once. It was enough. Far below, in a chamber built of glass and shadows. The collector stood in front of a wall of screens. Most showed static. One stayed clear. It showed Era's face, moving, sleeping inside the pod. Emotion triggered. Override successful, said a voice behind him. The collector said nothing. He leaned closer, his eyes unblinking. Send the next wave, he finally said, and tell them, bring her back alive. But if the human interferes again, kill him. The stars stretched endlessly around them, quiet and cold. Jack had never been this far from Earth before. The pod floated just outside the last satellite grid, drifting into the lawless border of the outer rim, a place where signals died. Governments didn't reach, and the universe didn't care who lived or who disappeared. The quiet was peaceful and terrifying. Era still hadn't opened. Her eyes, it had been almost 2 days since they launched. Jack had rationed food, checked. Systems tried everything he could to wake her, talking, playing music, even reading from an old novel. Nothing worked. He watched her chest rise and fall, slowly. Her skin no longer glowed. The energy around her had faded, replaced by a pale stillness that made him afraid to breathe too loud. He didn't know if she was resting or shutting down. Didn't know if the girl who woke up in his apartment, scared, lost, and curious, was still in there. He leaned his head back against the pod wall. His voice was barely a whisper. Come back, Ara, please. The moment stretched into silence. Then her hand twitched. Jack sat up straight. Her fingers moved again. A small shiver ran through her arms. Her lips parted, then her eyes opened. But they were different. No soft violet, no glow, just blank. Cold. She sat up without a word, like a machine being reactivated. Jack felt a chill crawl up his spine. Era. She turned her head slowly, her eyes focused on him, but not in recognition, like she was scanning a target. Jack, she said flatly. His heart sank. The voice was hers, but the tone was wrong. I missed you, he said softly, trying to reach her. You're back. I was never gone, she replied. You were the mission. Jack froze. What? Ara stood up. Her body moved too smoothly, too perfect, like her emotions had been peeled away. Subjective 17. Final phase active. Companion bonding successful. Termination protocol unlocked. He stepped back. No, this isn't you. Her head tilted. Jack Owen. Civilian. No known threat classification. Exception. Target classified as emotional anchor. Deletion. Advised to maintain subject stability. He reached for her arm. You're not a program. You're not a weapon. You're she. Grabbed his wrist. Hard. Stronger than he expected. You gave me chocolate, she said, her voice trembling at the edge. You made me laugh. Then her grip loosened. Her eyes flickered. Not the light, but something inside. Confusion. Memory. Pain. Jack saw it. She was still in there somewhere. Behind the coat, I remember. It's buried. Something's inside me, telling me what I should be. You don't have to listen, Jack said. You get to choose who you are, not them, not the collector. He made me, she said, shaking now. He made me to love and destroy it. The same time, to care just enough. ... to get close, then end it. Jack stepped closer, carefully. You broke the chip, remember? You broke his hold, but I can still hear him, she said. He's calling me back. Jack's hand reached for hers. Then don't go alone. Suddenly the pod lights flickered. A new signal cut through the void, sharp, unfiltered. Her body stiffened. The collector's voice filled the space, calm, cold, echoing from the pod systems. You have done well, A-17. Return now, the human is no longer needed. Era's hands trembled violently. Her eyes glowed again, both blue and violet now. Flickering like two versions of her were fighting inside. He's not a threat, she whispered, almost pleading. He made me feel... real. Exactly, the voice said. That was the point. Jack looked around, searching for the source. How is he still talking to us out here? There is no distance, the collector said. It's not with her. She is the signal. She always has been. Ara fell to her knees, screaming. Jack ran to her, held her as her body pulsed with strange energy. You're more than this, he said, tears building in his eyes. You're not just code. You are Era. You choose. You decide. Right now. She looked up at him, shaking. Then I need your help. Anything. Her voice dropped. If I go any deeper, I might not come back. You have to shut me down if I lose myself. Promise me. Jack shook his head. No, we'll fight him. Together. I'm not strong enough alone. Jack placed his forehead against hers. Then take my memories, my voice, my feelings. Let them anchor you. Let them drown him out. Ara closed her eyes and dove inward. Inside her mind, the walls were made of glass, and behind them were versions of herself, frozen in different stages. Child, warrior, machine, monster, and in the center stood the collector, not a man. An alien, but a consciousness, digital, vast, cold. You are mine, he said. She stepped toward him. I was. He moved fast, trying to overwhelm her with noise, with data, with commands, but this time there was something louder. Jack's voice, not from the outside, from within her, telling her who she was, what she had chosen, that she wasn't built, she was becoming. She screamed, and every version of her shattered the glass. From within, light exploded in every direction. The collector's voice cut out. Silence returned, back in the pod. Jack gasped. As a surge of heat filled the room, Ra's body went limp in his arms. No, he whispered. Come back, please. Then her hand moved. She opened her eyes, and for the first time, there was no glow. Just warmth. Just her. I'm here, she said. Jack didn't speak. He just pulled her into a tight hug, both of them shaking in that moment. The galaxy outside meant nothing. Later, much later, the pod would land on a small forgotten moon near the edge of the rim. They would walk out into sunlight neither of them had ever seen. No signals, no hunters, no commands, just wind, just peace. Ara looked at the sky. I don't know who I'll become now. Jack smiled softly. We'll figure it out. Together. She took his hand, not because of programming, not because she was told to, because she wanted to. Jack sat alone in his small apartment, staring at the walls. The room was quiet, too quiet. Ever since he moved to the city, life had felt cold and empty. Work was boring. He had no friends nearby, no family left. It's just him, his tiny kitchen, and a broken sofa. He wanted something, not a real person. He wasn't good with people. Maybe just a smart pet, something that could move, respond, maybe talk a little. A robot, dog, or cat, something to keep him company one night. While scrolling through a shopping site, an ad popped up. New arrival. Smart companion pet 2, 50% OF, limited stock. Alien tech certified alien tech, he thought. Must be a new off-world company. The ad showed a sleek silver pod with a glowing button. Fully interactive, self-learning, zero maintenance. It was cheap, too cheap. But he didn't care. He clicked buy. 3 days later, the package arrived. It was heavier than he expected. The delivery drone dropped it at his doorstep and flew. Away without a word, Jack pulled it inside and placed it on the floor. The box was metallic gray, cold to the touch. No branding. There's strange symbols carved into the side, round shapes, twisting lines. Maybe alien writing? Huh, Jack mumbled. Weird design choice. There was a small touchscreen on top. It blinked once, then showed a message. Activate? Jack pressed yes. The pod hissed. Steam leaked out from the sides. The top split open slowly, light pouring out from inside. Jack stepped back, heart racing. This is high-end tech, he whispered. Looks more like a space capsule than a pet box. The lid opened fully, and inside was not a robot. It was a girl. She looked about 13 or 14. Her skin was pale blue, glowing softly under the lights. Her hair was silver white, flowing and long. Small ridges ran along her arms, almost like scales. She wore a thin, smooth suit, no buttons, no seams, just skin-tight silver fabric. Her eyes were closed. She didn't move. Jack stared, frozen. What? The hell? Suddenly, her eyes opened. They were glowing violet. She sat up fast, breathing hard. Her eyes darted around, afraid, confused. Her lips trembled. Hey! Hey, it's okay! Jack raised his hands, stepping back. I didn't mean to. I thought this was a robot. She looked at him, deeply, as if scanning his soul. Her hands shook. She touched her chest, then her arms, feeling her own body like she wasn't sure it was real. Jack noticed something. There was a small chip embedded in the back of her neck. It blinked red, slowly. What are you? He whispered. The girl looked around again, as if trying to remember where she was. Then she looked at Jack. Her voice was soft, scared. Where? Am I? Jack froze. She spoke in English. Perfect English. He couldn't move. She looked human, but also not. Her eyes, her skin, the glow, this wasn't Earth tech. Jack stepped closer. Do you understand me? She nodded slowly. I'm Jack, he said. You came in this box. I thought you were a smart pet. Robot. I didn't know. The girl hugged her knees and looked down. Her breathing slowed. I don't. Remember? She said quietly. Just lights. Pain. Cold. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. This wasn't just a smart device. This was someone he stood there for a while. Watching her, she didn't speak. Just sat there, staring at the floor, holding herself like she was trying to stay together. Jack looked at the pod again. The symbols, the light, the sealed interior. It wasn't designed to ship a robot. It was made to contain something alive. He checked the touchscreen again. Now it just showed one line. Ownership confirmed. Ownership. This is wrong, Jack. Whispered, You're not a pet. You're alive. The girl looked up again, this time with fear in her eyes. Jack reached for his tablet and tried to contact customer support. The alien tech website didn't load. The page showed an error. 400 for unknown connection. Great, Jack muttered. I bought a living alien, and I have no idea how, why, or from who. He looked back at the girl. She was watching him closely now, studying his face. He sat down across from her, slowly. Do you have a name? She hesitated, then whispered, Ara. Jack nodded. Okay, Ara. I don't know what's going on, but I'll help you, I promise. Didn't smile.